Hey everyone, Spaghetti here. Welcome back to my channel. Coming at you with an elemental guide for the War Within. Just want to let you guys know a few disclaimers before we start. This is not a definitive guide on how to play Ellie. This is just how I have found success playing Elemental Shaman in the beta. Things might always change depending on balancing from here to expansion release. But as long as Earthshock stays buffed and we keep all of our modifiers to buff the Earthshock, then we should be okay and this build should be good to go. Just quick before we get started with this video, I want to give a quick shout out to Trent, aka Ryan, for winning the mouse giveaway. I'm already in contact with him to try and get him this mouse. So big congrats to Trent. So first things first, I want to touch on the stats and what you should be going for in PvP when it comes to the War Within. The last expansion was a little different. You actually wanted a little bit more mastery, but ever since the Lava Burst nerf has come through and the Earthshock buff has been applied, crit has gained value from that Earthshock buff, and mastery has lost a lot of value from the Lava Burst nerf. So we're actually looking at building a lot more crit in the War Within, and it's very crucial to our build as well. I don't just play crit though. I play a little bit of haste to get to a certain thresh point for my flame shock ticks. I definitely want my flame shocks to be ticking every 1.5, and the way that you want to get to that 1.5 threshold is actually through gems. And the reason why this matters is because you don't want to have more haste than what you can use or what you're getting value from, if that makes sense. So you don't want to have any wasted haste, and all that other extra stat that you can put somewhere else, you're probably going to want to be putting that into crit. And then also verse. You're playing a little bit of low verse here in the first season, but I haven't noticed anything crazy, and I still feel pretty tanky. I'm at 29% verse. It's not terrible. I could actually drop some more verse and pick up some more crit. But yep, that's where we're at right now. Haste wise, we actually have more haste than crit at the moment. This is kind of what I'm running at. When it comes to trinkets, guys, definitely be using the trinket that gets you out of CC. But also look into using this badge trinket. The way that we are playing Ellie at the moment, we revolve a lot around when we press Primordial Wave. And when we press Primordial Wave, just to be pumping Earthshocks, spending all of our resources. And then badge really helps with that. Because you're guaranteed to have 7.9k intellect on that go. Let's say you didn't have that. Your Earthshocks would probably be non-crit, hitting for 500k maybe, 600k. If you were to turn your badge on, like, it would be hitting for minimum non-crit 800k. And then if it were to crit, it might hit for 2 million, 1.8 million. Those are the numbers that we're kind of seeing here on the beta. And I have 6 million HP. So on screen right now, you're actually going to be seeing all my gear, enchants, and gems, just so that you guys are able to copy it. Make sure to get to at least that certain threshold that I'm talking about for haste, so that your flame shocks are ticking every 1.5. I can't express how important this is. At least I think it's important. Might not be the craziest thing moving forward, but at least it feels really good to have your flame shocks take every 1.5 compared to every 1.6. Let me tell you. Feels like it feels really good. So when it comes to PvP, guys, these are the talents that we're going to be running with most of the time. You're going to be obviously going into that Farseer tree. The 3 choice nodes that you can actually pick up on Farseer, because everything else is guaranteed, is Heed My Call. Definitely want your ancestors to last 4 seconds longer. Latent Wisdom, increasing the damage of your ancestors by 20%. That's very nice. And then also picking up the buffed Earth Shield. Having 12 stacks of Earth Shield is very insane. And then on top of that, making it heal for 25% more is kind of nuts. So we're very much liking this talent. Definitely pick up the increased Earth Shield charges, and then also the increased heal on your Earth Shield. And then finally, this is the new spell that you're kind of getting from this specific side of the tree. You're basically macroing this into your Primordial Wave every 30 seconds. I do have a separate bind for this just in case. But you're going to be basically hitting this every 30 seconds with your Primordial Wave. And then after that Primordial Wave Lava Burst, you're just going to be hitting Earthshock, 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 Earthshock. And you should be able to one-shot very nicely. Alrighty guys, let's go over the talents on the right side of the tree and kind of like why we're picking them, giving a little bit of more insight regarding that. So Earthshock, definitely take Earthshock over Ellie Blast in PvP. At least right now, Ellie Blast is kind of hard to get off. Might be in the future that we pick Ellie Blast for some really cheese one-shot stuff. But at the moment, definitely want to pick up Earthshock. Get that big instant cast bomb. Definitely on the left-hand side, we want the Earthquake that you can actually choose to pick where it goes down. This way that you can put it down behind pillars and stop pillars drinks. That's like the best thing that you can do with Earthquake in PvP. Then we have Flash Lightning. This is just purely to get to Ice Fury. It might not be worth picking up Ice Fury, but this is just what I'm testing at the moment. I don't know where else you would put these talents. Yeah, Ice Fury is just the best. So Ice Fury does a decent amount of damage, and then also procs your Elemental Equilibrium. So it's nice to have. Going down the middle side of the tree here, definitely pick up Swelling Maelstrom, increasing your maximum Maelstrom by 50%. It's very nice. And then it also increases your Earthshock damage by 5%. So this is a very big choice node right here. Last expansion, you were actually going for Surge of Power every time. This expansion, though, Aftershock gaining a lot of value with the Earthshock buffs. So that's kind of what I've been going for recently. You don't have that on-demand Frostshock route anymore, unfortunately. But you do have that RNG burst when you're dumping Earthshocks. You might have an extra Earthshock, and that might be the game winner. So it's actually worthwhile picking up Aftershock. And you might get lucky some games to the point where you just absolutely one-shot someone purely off this talent right here. Definitely pick up Primordial Fury. Your critical strikes are going to be doing an extra 25% increased damage. That's something that no other class has in the game, which is great. Flow of Power increases your Maelstrom generated by your Lava Burst. That's kind of a nice quality of life at the moment. Your Searing Flames only has a chance to generate Maelstrom. In the past, this was guaranteed and you had an infinite amount of Maelstrom. But basically now, since this is only a chance, you're really building up Maelstrom in between your burst windows. Making sure that you have a capped Maelstrom bar whenever you press Primordial Wave. That is very important. Improved Flame Tongue weapon increases the damage of your fire spells by 5%. That's no brainer. Echo of the Elements, I've been kind of digging this little pet that you summon around. Honestly, I'm really only picking up Echo of the Elements so then I can go Skybreaker's Fiery Demise and then also Primal Elementalist. I'm a big believer in Primal Elementalist. Not a lot of people pick it up. Some people actually drop this, but I am a big believer in Primal Elementalist. Might be worthwhile actually, and I have to test this. But Mountains Will Fall. That might not be terrible, but since we don't have that much mastery, it's probably still better to just go Primal Elementalist. Going down the right side of the tree, definitely pick up Primordial Wave, Splintered Elements, still reminiscent of some Shadowlands things, and then Liquid Magma Totem. This has been one of the biggest additions I think that Ellie has received. This has been in the game for a while, but it had a very long CD, and it was actually very hard to get to in the tree. You lost a lot of damage getting to it, but now that it's kind of relatively easy to get, and they basically have the CD, and it's actually becoming a lot nicer. It makes the spec feel very fluid. It's a nice alternative to, instead of giving Flameshock no CD, having Liquid Magma Totem. Honestly, this is one of the best additions that they've made to Ellie this expansion, is just being able to actually spec into this. Definitely thumbs up from me, Blizzard. Thanks for Liquid Magma Totem. Thumbs up. So the right side of the tree actually doesn't change that much when it comes to game to game, but the left-hand side of the tree actually changes depending on if you're going versus melee or if you're going versus a caster. Versus anything that you need decurse, you would drop Totemic Focus, definitely pick up Cleanse Spirit. Outside of this, whenever you're going against an Acer Rogue, you can pick up Poison Cleansing Totem. Make sure to drop that whenever the Acer Rogue presses Shiv. This will completely negate the MS that they can put on with Shiv. So definitely look out for that. You could also, if you're feeling a little squishy, pick up Primordial Bond instead of Totemic Focus. I just really like Totemic Focus at the moment, so I've been running with that. Sucks that we can't get Primordial Bond, but hey, it is what it is. Versus casters, I actually do end up picking up Primordial Bond because you don't need Thunderous Paws as much versus casters. So I drop Thunderous Paws and I pick up Primordial Bond. That's the only difference that I really do versus casters compared to versus melee. At the moment, what you could kind of argue is that versus casters, you could probably just go Mana Spring Totem. I don't think you need Aura Mastery versus casters. That's probably a good change. And then alternatively, you could also drop Spirit Walkers and pick up Season Winds. If, let's say, it's a Shadow play, I think that this would be a very good idea. Maybe pick up Decurse as well. It all depends on the comp that you're going against. So when it comes to PvP talents, guys, we're going to be picking up Totem of Wrath. This is going to be dropping Sky Fury whenever you Primordial Wave, which is insane. It got nerfed a little bit. It's only increasing your crit by 15%. But this is still very insane, guys. Definitely don't underestimate this. You can still move this totem, but whenever you Primordial Wave, if you, let's say you want to hide the Totem of Wrath, you can Totemic Projection it behind a pillar, and it won't get killed. So you can still Totemic Projection Totem of Wrath. Definitely keep that in mind, guys. You have Shamanism here. This is giving you hero every 1 minute. You can cast this on yourself and then also on a team member. Keep that in mind. Definitely don't just cast this on yourself because it's kind of a waste. I have a mouse over macro for my heroism. Sometimes I give it to my DPS. Sometimes I end up having to clutch out and give it to my healer, making sure that we stay alive for that go. Definitely don't only just give it to your DPS. Have it be a judgment call depending on the flow of the game. So then you pick up ground as well. Ground's very good. You can drop ground depending on if there's a caster on the enemy team or not. You can sometimes go Unleash Shield, but for the most part, you're almost always just going to be picking up ground. Outside of that, you might sometimes go Burrow. Burrow might not be too bad instead of Unleash Shield, but at the moment, it's just ground or Unleash Shield or Burrow. Those are the three that you can really go in this little third spot. When it comes to my macros, I'm going to be pasting them all in a PASTEBIN linked in the description. They're not fully updated. Not all my macros are completely the same as they are on live, but I will keep updating them as I make changes. But for the most part, most of these macros are accurate, and some version of them I would still be using. Once again, the PASTEBIN is in the description. Make sure to click through and check those out. When it comes to add-ons, guys, I want to go over a few add-ons that are a must in PvP. Definitely want to pick up advanced interface options for those of you who don't have that already. Big debuffs, diminish, details, omnibar, omni CD, S Arena, and weak aura. So guys, once you have a full Maelstrom bar loaded up and you have maybe an Ice Fury proc even, you don't have to wait for this, then you hit your ice button right there, then you hit Primordial Wave, Lust, and then you just start Earth Shocking and Lava Bursting. You can get that instant Lava Burst off right away because of the NS, and then you just go into the Earth Shock / Lava Burst weave. This wraps up the Elemental Shaman guide for the War Within. I hope this video gave you some insights on how to start dominating in Arena with Elemental Shaman. Obviously, this next expansion is giving Elemental Shaman a lot of love. So definitely very much digging all the different changes that are coming out. Now remember guys, if you guys have any questions or want to chat more about builds, rotations, anything else, drop them in the comments below or catch me live on Twitch at @spaghetti_. I'd love to help you and discuss all things Shaman. Don't forget to hit that like button for our first guide ever on YouTube. This is my first elemental guide. Can't explain how grateful I am for everyone that's watched this. So if you want to see any more WoW content in the future, any more elemental content moving into the War Within, make sure to subscribe and then also turn on your notification bells so that you don't miss any updates when we get closer to launch. Once again, thanks for watching and peace out.